Today we're covering something absolutely crucial, the 60-second verdict, which is essentially a masterclass career strategy specifically for corrugated packaging professionals. Seriously, treat what we're about to go through as an exclusive high-level executive coaching session. We're diving deep, and I mean deep, into the actual hiring strategies of this industry.
Welcome to the Bob Nevin Careers channel. We're happy to have you here. Get ready to learn something new. Let's do this.
We're pulling these insights directly from the playbook of Bob Nevin. Now, if you know the industry, you know Bob. He's been a powerhouse recruiter in corrugated packaging since 1996, placing everyone from floor supervisors all the way up to senior management for giants like PCA, International Paper, and WestRock. He's seen literally thousands of candidates, and he knows exactly what separates the ones who succeed from the ones who crash and burn. So, let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this because I need to hit you with a cold, hard reality right out of the gate.
When it comes to the 60-second verdict, every single moment counts. You cannot afford any distractions.
60. That is the number of seconds you have. Not 60 minutes, 60 seconds. When you walk into an interview for a plant management role, a supervisory position, or a senior converting role, the decision on whether or not you're actually going to get hired, it's usually made before you even properly pull your chair out and sit down. It happens in that very first minute. Basically, everything after that is just the interviewer looking for clues to confirm the snap judgment they've already made about you. And this reality leads us to what we can call the grand illusion. Between us, here's the industry secret. Most candidates, and I'm talking about highly experienced ones, waste hours, sometimes even days, prepping for an hour-long interview. They dig through the company's annual reports, they desperately try to memorize corporate history, or worse, they spend hours in front of a mirror rehearsing this long, winding personal journey about their career. But guys, they are prepping for the absolute wrong test. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of what that hiring manager is actually looking for when you walk through that door. You aren't there to answer questions like a student taking a final exam. So what is actually happening inside the hiring manager's head during those crucial first 60 seconds? I'll tell you right now. Their brain isn't consciously making some thoughtful list of your pros and cons. Instead, they are running a rapid binary calculation. Are you a risk or are you an asset? That's the whole shebang. They're not looking for a likable person. They just want someone who isn't going to disrupt their day or cause them more stress. If you come in nervous, stuttering, or if you immediately launch into your personal journey instead of talking about their business bottom line, boom, you are instantly flagged in the risk column. But if you come in data-driven, totally focused on the bottom line and solution-oriented, you become an asset. Let me share a story from the source material that just perfectly captures this dynamic. Bob Nevin had a client who was a plant manager for a massive high-speed corrugated converting facility. Now, this guy was at his absolute wit's end. He had a production supervisor role sitting wide open for 6 long months. He had personally interviewed over 20 people, and he rejected every single one of them. No way was he settling. When Bob finally asked him why he kept saying no, the plant manager said something really profound. He said, "Bob, they all tell me they can run the machines. I need to know if they can run the trouble." I want you to really think about that phrase for a second. Run the trouble. In a high-speed packaging environment, running the trouble literally is the job. Anyone can babysit a machine when things are running perfectly, right? The real question is, what happens when it all goes sideways? Let's talk about a candidate we'll just call John to see how you actually prove you can run the trouble. John was sent to interview with this exact incredibly stressed out plant manager. When John walked into that room, he didn't start with a generic, I've been a supervisor for 10 years and I'm a super hard worker. No, he walked in, sat down, and immediately targeted a specific operational pain point. He said, "I know you're currently fighting 12% waste on your flexo folder gluers because your crew isn't catching the board warp issues during setup. I've lived that exact struggle. I'm here to fix that number." John didn't talk about himself at all. He zeroed in on that 12% waste figure, treating it like the plant's bleeding wound. And the reaction? It was immediate. The plant manager actually stopped shuffling his papers and looked up. In under 60 seconds, John had taken a generic, high-stress interview and completely transformed it into a high-level consulting session. By addressing the pain right out of the gate, specifically targeting those scrap rates and machine throughput, John entirely bypassed the risk category. He went straight to solution. He didn't sit there and ask for a job. He offered a highly specific, expert intervention for the facility's biggest, most expensive headache. So the crucial point we need to take away here is, how do you replicate John's success? Well, you have to master what's called the impact pivot. The impact pivot is this brilliant technique of taking any standard, boring, generic interview question and immediately bridging it to a bottom-line production outcome. Remember, you are there to confirm a hypothesis the employer already has. They desperately want to believe that you are the person who can step onto the production floor and stop the bleeding. The impact pivot is exactly how you prove it to them. This builds into a really nice, repeatable step-by-step strategy. It breaks down into 3 very clear actions. Step 1, hear the standard question. They might ask something totally cliche, about your management style or your greatest strength. Step 2, you immediately anchor your response with a data point. No fluff, no generic adjectives. Step 3, you deliver the production outcome. You show exactly how your approach historically improved a metric that actually matters to a plant manager. You're basically turning soft interview fluff into hard, undeniable numbers. Let's look at this framework in action. Imagine the interviewer asks that absolute classic question. So, tell me about your management style. A normal candidate is going to talk about being hands-on or, having an open door policy. Big mistake. That's a risk. Instead, you use the impact pivot. You look at them and say, my style is built entirely around data-driven feedback. For instance, in my last role at a box plant, that approach helped us drop machine downtime from 18% down to 6% in one single quarter. And we did that by focusing strictly on standardized setup times. Do you see what just happened there? You answered their question about your style, sure, but you instantly grounded your personality in a massive bottom line result. 18% down to 6%. That is what they care about. The secret sauce here is that you are constantly having to ground your personality in results. If you sit there and talk about being a people person, you might think you sound great. But to a hardened plant manager in the corrugated industry, man, that is a soft liability. It immediately translates in their head to, this person is going to be way too soft to hold the line with the crew. But if you talk about decreasing safety incidents by 10% through implementing a new daily pre-shift huddle, now that is a hard asset. It shows you manage people, yes, but you manage them to achieve a real, tangible bottom line benefit. When you consistently apply this impact pivot, something truly magical happens in the room. You completely flip the dynamic on its head. Most people fail because they think an interview is just a historical review of their past. It's not. It's an audition for the company's future operations. When you come in talking confidently about scrap rates, throughput, and downtime, they stop grilling you. The interrogation just ends. Suddenly, they start selling you on why their facility is a great place to work. You take that power dynamic and you completely own it. You're no longer just a candidate asking for permission to be hired. You're a consultant offering an expert intervention. So picture this. You've totally mastered the 60-second verdict. You've used the impact pivot perfectly. You've flipped the dynamic. You've completely aced the interview. They absolutely love you, and they definitely want you to run the trouble. And then, right at the very end, they look across the desk and ask this seemingly simple question. So, what are your salary requirements? Well, here's the warning. There is a massive trap waiting for you right here. If you answer this question like a normal person, you lose. You show your hand, you give them all of the leverage, and you will likely leave thousands of dollars on the table. So how do you answer it without surrendering all that power you just built? Well, that is a huge topic all on its own. And in our next explainer, we're going to break down exactly how to handle the salary question, so you keep the leverage and get paid what you are actually worth in the packaging industry. You are absolutely not going to want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining me for this session, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to smash that like button, subscribe and turn notifications on and share with everyone you know. Also leave a comment down below. Say hi or ask a question. Again, thanks for watching and see you in our next video. Cheers!